Julie here with Sirius Telus Moon Art with the Stars, and I am launching phase 2 of Art with the Stars. This is Jupiter hour, ascendant 13 degrees Pisces, midheaven 19 degrees Sagittarius, and Jupiter in Cancer, Moon, yes, it is in Capricorn, Saturn ingressed to Aries. And the way that I'm going to share that with you is going to be with my intention. And I find it very interesting, first of all, that I can do this. Why is it so? Do I need to do that? Is it here? Is it here? Okay. Camera focus. Okay, that's the closest. And we are going to do a video within a video. The concept for me when I think Saturn in Aries, and this is a part of what I did, is the showing up. And here's the thing with Saturn Aries, and I'm calling my phase 2 laying the infrastructure for sovereign creation, life energy, wealth, and love. Goes, I could say well being, but essentially well being is the way we love. Um, Happy solar return. Yesterday, Crassia Tassio came with a very important delineation that I shared on my Facebook that I think touches down to when we talk about curating and what this business comes to curate by art and expression, the way artists were working before, or the way artists were being born before. And the reason I did chose to capture Saturn Neptune is because, first of all, the energy. Secondly, um, secondly, basically, this is the decan of sidereal Pisces where the egg cracks and a baby is born, and is I call it the breaking of the water. And it is exactly what went wrong, and that going wrong, that by rape or molestation or torture yields Epstein list, with all that entails, the concentration camps, the ICE, the AI technologies used to masquerade the identities of the offenders rather than communicating and creating and modeling and working with what is imagined and what is real, which is Neptune in Aries. And this is as well the point of creation that is sovereign and setting intention to create something that is sovereign. So phase 2 for me is laying the foundations. And this is where Neptune brings the tension of showing up, acting, doing, taking action, even if it doesn't come up the best, even if I'm not yet ready, and resting. Um, so I launched phase 2 while I still don't know what currency to charge, what to charge for my products. Am I going to take picture of my products and sell them? How do I address the talismanic part of creation? Well, it's not a talismanic grade in a traditional way that we would think. It is definitely a creation with dedication and thought. It's very immediate. I woke up today, Saturn ingressed, and I was like, okay, let's do it. um, in Saturn's hour, which I wouldn't normally pick. And I'm not even sure what am I launching in phase two beside my work, my foundation for thought, the intention for this endeavor. Um, and I definitely have some oils in it. I consecrated black pepper oil so that I can create with that Palmarosa, which is feminine mothering energy, but also it is about um, antifungal, and the Mundra essential oil, which is extremely antifungal. Um, both because I will personally be working with these oils. Saturn ruling over Pluto is good for basically dissolving the fungi structure around the foundations. Um, and what I see that this phase is unifying the things that I've done before with the archetype of Aries, the sovereignty, the innovation, the something new that stands the test of time because it refers to the core issues in history that weren't done like that before in known history. And I emphasize known history because I'm sure that I'm going to find out of more people that did similar things to what I do along history. Um, and and actually, this is what I love about that. Um, I see Saturn, Neptune, Aries as the origin of soul. The way that sexual energy was um, violated created plagiarism and at the same time the dual form of attempting to return to our soul origin that sometimes expressed itself through more than one person and even in awkward vividness and clarity. So, and this is why I say I'm sure that there are many other people that are connecting with their soul origin and are doing things. Um, Saturn Aries is the sense of self, and it's actually the first oil I consecrated with Saturn Neptune in Aries, which was a sense of self, and so basically a parfum that I made. Before that, um, yeah, and yeah, it takes a sense of self to another level. It's a tiny, tiny bottle, and it's already diluted, so it's not even the oil's preparation for. And I was like, okay, what can I do? But this is exactly the spirit of consecrating the materia with which I will create, and documenting that thought process. So I still don't have a currency. I still don't have a pricing model. Um, Definitely, there's something to do with housing and safety, and I haven't even watched the news. By the way, Saturn at the end of Aries is Saturn returned for the 1967 war. So it's kind of like all those things in the background. The sun is situated in a happy point for me, um, which I also captured, and this second house really calls to monetization, although I don't know how to do that. Not because I am ashamed to charge prices or because I have an issue with being appreciated, but because I simply don't know what and how and what the details um, I want currency that is different. Um, and I don't know whether to coin that currency or coin something similar myself. Um, but I think I will leave the coining to perhaps a better election of the moon. Um, perhaps a better election of the moon, um, because the thought of currency and coining, even a symbolic coin, with transparency around the ritual, because this is going to be visible, because I'm going to document the coining of, and I might use something like wax or something that's very symbolic. If I get coffee grains that are ethically sourced, then I might use that because I want that to be tangible, um, possible to use. So I know that coffee was used in time where there was financial crisis because it was something that people could use and it was tangible. It was not an image of, although it can also be used symbolically. And I want the ritual around the consecration of the currency to be visible because we've had a lot of the wrongs happening in invisibility around currency, banking, trading, and Saturn ruling Pluto in Aries being in 0 degree, Saturn ruling Pluto in Aquarius in Aries is a good time to cement a currency that is sovereign. Um, of course, it is a symbolic act. Would people take it to trade with that or to replicate um, the ritual or the creation? And it's supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be something that people do also when traveling or also under fire. And I kind of think that the big wars of Aries are somewhat liberating from the elaborated ritual sacrifices that we had of children and people. As terrible as it may sound, war doesn't have time for ritual. And it's a very dual way because many people die at war. Um, but that is something that is going to come up with Neptune, the sense of duality of things. So, can people send me ethically sourced coffee? Um, yes, I don't still have an address, but you can. I have Sirius Talisman is strudel@gmail.com is my email, and if people want to share resources with me, um, so I like coffee. Um, I like sushi, but I don't see how that is. Maybe the ingredients to prepare, like rice. So if people are having ethically sourced rice, or if they're having, and all of those could be ideas, and that they would want to support my broadcast or my creation, um, and if they have idea of what would they would want in return, would they want, let's say, a photocopy of one of my created bottles, or because I don't create industrially, it's a one-person creation, and that's a part of it's a part of the concept. While I don't say that it can't be scaled, it's curating the wounds of industrial revolution and try to think how do we innovate so that we can innovate and create, but also maintain the sense of self, whether it's by our original creation or the natural expression of our original creation. So things like coffee, like rice, like the little wraps that we use for sushi are definitely well accepted. Anything that is cups or something to serve is definitely something that I'm missing. Um, so those things are very, very welcome. Um, and what I'd like them is to be sent as kind of exchanging goods in the way that people just do regardless of trade. Because I think that this is the origin, this is the core. Um, and then when I will create with whether the oils or um, yeah, I haven't consecrated colors, but I definitely need. If you have ethically sourced oil colors, that is very, very welcomed. Um, I might consecrate them, and um, if people want to, let's say, send me oil and wait for consecration, then I think that that is possible, and then I can send back, or then I have some for me and some for the consecration and send back to the people that send that want to create or want to experiment with that. When it comes to requesting for consecrated art, please get yourself informed on the astrology. And there are many colleagues that teach astrological magic, but it's more important in that regard that you will develop your own gnosis, um, and uh, and that is kind of preliminary because it's something that is still unprecedented. Even if it was done before, it wasn't done like this before, and not with those intentions. So I really don't know what would be the effect. Um, More things to say. Yeah, currently to send something to you, I would need to send an appointment with the bank, or I would need to contact a shipping company, which which brings to the next point. If you are a shipping company or a new shipping company that is in attunement with the value of this business, namely zero ritual abuse, evolving from the cloning farms, um, okay, sovereignty, life energy, and so on and so forth. I'm interested as to your ideas. What would you need? I have the idea that, let's say, if I ship Neptune materia, it might go missing and people might invest in it as a message in a bottle. Okay, whereas if I ship other materia, it might arrive with the planet. So let's say ship Jupiter materia. Jupiter is a slow moving planet, and so shipping might take more time. Or Saturn is a slow moving planet, and so shipping might take more time. So I have a different way to compute the time of shipment and also have the business. Um, One way to say it is ritual abuse trauma informed. Another way to see it is rethinking the foundation of time and schedule to fit actual life, because that was the origin of trauma. We try to make something unfit to life. And this is the tension of showing up and creating even if we're not ready, and taking into account um, the world and nature so we don't standardize ourselves to inhumane conditions or slavery based conditions that would create both a burnout and a downfall of whatever it is we're creating or shipping. And it's also getting us as customers and clients accustomed to a more relaxed form of trade that will not 9/11 on us, because the previous was an Ouroboros. The snake was eating its own tail, and the snake eating his own tail is a slavery. And it's very interesting that upon this time, actually creating I wouldn't say abolitionist because I may find out that it was a masquerade of the Jesuits to try to enslave people all over the world and call it abolition. But I definitely am talking about zero rape, zero slavery society. Of course, it's the cornerstone. Of course, the very material that I used is not yet there fully because there isn't something fully there yet. And acknowledging that this is the foundation. So I'm calling this phase the foundation because it really is both something out of nothing, and definitely there are things that I'm using to transmute and birth something else. Um, yeah, this is probably going to be released with Midheaven. Oh, yeah, on my Midheaven. Okay, let's release that.